Very good morning. Welcome to the learning platform for physics, Physics with KRR. So today I'm going to discuss motion in a plane, quick revision for NEET 2020 aspirants. This class is for those who are preparing for NEET 2020 examination. For them to revise all the concepts and formulae in a short time, I'm going to give this lecture. So this is for the students, those who are studied well previously, those who want to recall all the important points and formulae related to the chapter of motion in a plane. So this is not useful for freshers. So this is useful for the students, those who prepared already, and they are who's seeking for revise of all the concepts and formulae in a short time. So here in one shot I'm going to discuss the entire chapter of motion in a plane. So here in a motion in a plane, we have four parts. Part 1 we can take it as vectors. In part 2 we can take relative velocity. Relative velocity in 2 dimensions. That is, so here we have two types of examples are there: riverboat numericals and rain and umbrella case. And third one, projectile motion. So in the case of projectile, again we have two parts. That is, one is horizontal projection and another one is oblique projection. And fourth part is uniform circular motion, or circular motion we can call it as. So here also we have two parts: uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion. So this is, even though this is very small topic from the chapter of motion in a plane, so many times they ask the question from this topic from the chapter of motion in a plane in NEET examination and also in JEE Mains examination. So this is very important area from the chapter of motion in a plane. In 2013 they asked the question related to vectors, and 2019 also, in a 2019 NEET examination they asked the question riverboat numericals, that is related to relative velocity in 2 dimensions. And projectile is also one of the major part of the chapter and very important topic we need to consider from this chapter. Now one by one we will discuss all these four topics from the chapter of motion in a plane in a quick manner. Right. So in the NEET examination from the chapter of motion in a plane, they're going to ask one or two questions from this chapter. So motion in a straight line, one question, and motion in a plane, one question. Definitely they will ask. Sometimes from the motion in a plane they may ask two questions also, as we have vectors part and projectile part is most major important, and also relative velocity in 2 dimensions, and also related to uniform circular motion, uniform and non-uniform circular motion. So here now we will concentrate on the concept of vectors. So here I am not going to discuss basic things related to those. Those are the points, or those are the expressions or formulae which are useful for solving the numericals. So those who already studied well regarding this chapter. Now here, so here finding of angle between two vectors is very important while solving of a numerical. So here angle between the vector is nothing but angle between, so tail to tail of a vector. Now we have, so this is a vector A, this is vector A, and this is vector B. Now the angle between these two, this is a tail of one vector, A vector, and this is tail of another vector. So this is the angle between these two vectors. Now if another two vectors are looking like this, now what is the angle between this? So for finding angle we need to extend this angle in this direction, vector in this direction. Now this is a tail of vector A, and this is tail of vector B. Now the angle between these two will be theta. In the same manner, so this vector you may displace from this position to here for attaching both the tail of the vectors. Then so this will become B. Now this is the angle between the two vectors. So like this we may calculate the angle between two vectors. So while calculating the numerical, so sometimes while taking this angle is also somewhat difficult. We can take in clockwise direction sometimes and anti-clockwise direction sometimes. So the angle measured, an angle measured in anti-clockwise direction is positive, whereas angle measured in clockwise direction is negative. Right. Next, unit vector. So unit vector is nothing but a vector which has magnitude 1 but has a direction. That is unit vector. This is r cap. So a vector is divided with its magnitude will use unit vector. Now position vector in 3 dimensions we write as like this: r bar is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap, where I, j, k are called orthogonal triad of unit vectors, are also called base vectors. Now resolution of the vectors. So this is a major important area, not only in the chapter of the topic of vectors. It plays an important role where the vector quantity will come in physics. That means we have so many vector quantities related numericals are there in physics. That means velocity, displacement, velocity, force, acceleration, momentum, angular momentum, linear momentum, whatever may be the thing we are taking is a vector quantity. So that while dealing with vector quantity, we need this the concept of resolution of the vector. Now if a vector is for vector notation, we can take like this. This is we can take it as positive x-axis represented by I cap. This is negative x-axis represented by minus I cap. This is positive y-axis represented by plus j cap. Negative y-axis represented by minus j cap. Minus j cap. Now if the vector is, if you are taken in a plane, now if we are imagined in 3 dimensions, a vector which is into the plane of the paper can be taken as positive z-axis, that is plus k cap, whereas outside the plane of the paper can be taken as negative z-axis, that is represented by minus k cap. Now when you are taking this coordinate system, we can take like this. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. If z-axis is into the plane of the paper, that is called positive z-axis. Outside the plane of the paper, that can be considered as negative z-axis. Now if any vector which is lying along x-axis or y-axis and along z-axis, there is no resolution of the vector. But if any vector which is lying inclined to the horizontal, or which is making some angle with the horizontal or vertical in a plane or in space, now we need to resolve into components. So a vector can be resolved into infinite number of components. Now here we will use a rectangular component of vectors we only discuss while discussion of the numericals related to physics in general, because for example any x-axis, and also directions we may represent as this is east, this is west, this is north, and this is south. Like that, in terms of east we can take it as plus I cap. So with these I, j, k are called unit vectors which are perpendicular to each other. Those are called orthogonal triad of unit vectors. That means the angle between any two vectors is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. Now, so if any vector is looking like this, this is a bar which is making an angle theta. Now this will be resolved into two components. These are called two rectangular components. The angle between those two components of this vector will be 90 degrees. Okay. Now this is, so this will be taken as ax or a cos theta. This component we can take it as ay or a sin theta. This, in this case, we can, this vector we made it as ax into I cap. Ax is nothing but magnitude of a along x-axis, I cap is representing direction, that is positive x-axis. Otherwise this also we can represent with the ax bar. So now ax bar we can write it as ax into I cap. Like that we can. Now like this we can resolve a vector into different components, and then based on those components we will discuss the different numericals in different cases. In one case we may face many numericals based on this resolution of the vectors on the case of variable force. Now here when you are seeing this point, so this is vector A, this is an angle theta, this is ax or ax bar or ax into I cap. Like that we can resolve this vector into components. So now based on the value of theta, a cos theta is called horizontal component of a vector, a sin theta is nothing but vertical component of the vector. So horizontal component of the vector is not along the horizontal. So this is based on the angle how we are measuring. For example, so this is a vector we are looking like this. This is one component and this is another component. If this is theta, this will be a cos theta and this is a sin theta. If you are taking an angle with the vertical, now this will be a cos theta and this is a sin theta. Now this a cos theta is we can call it as horizontal component. Doesn't mean it is along the direction of the horizontal. That we have to consider. Okay. Like this we can resolve into components. Next, so here we can write in 2 dimension. In 3 dimension means we can write the vector like this. Now, so here in 3 dimensions we may represent x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. The angle, this is the resultant vector which makes an angle alpha with x-axis, beta with y-axis, gamma with z-axis. Now cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma, a vector, component of a vector which is along x-axis by its magnitude. So now this is cos alpha, cos beta and cos gamma. Now cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to 1. Whereas sin square beta plus sin square alpha, sin square beta plus sin square gamma is equal to 2. Law of cosines and law of sine. Okay, right. So based on this resolution of the vectors, this is a very important model of numerical we can consider. Now this is along x-axis and this is along y-axis. A vector is like this, which having magnitude 5. Now this vector we can resolve into 2 components. That means 5 cos 37 degree, which is along positive y-axis, positive x-axis, plus 5 sin 37, which is along positive y-axis, Now OB is along x-axis, BC is along y-axis. Now, so this is we can take it as some OA bar. OA bar is nothing like this. Now OB bar we can directly take it as 3 into I cap, BC bar 4 into J cap. Now R bar is nothing but OA bar plus OB bar plus OC bar. That will give resultant vector. Like that, based on the resolution of the vector, they may ask the question, which is in many cases this type of question is based on displacement, velocity and average velocity, average acceleration. Like that questions they may ask based on this area in the chapter of motion a straight line also. Okay, this. Now if it is in the circular motion, this is along x-axis, this is along x-axis, this is along y-axis, there is no resolution. But this vector, OB vector, we have resolved into 2 components. Cos theta is along x-axis, sin theta is along y-axis. Like that we have to add the vectors to get the resultant vector. Okay. Right. So unit vector parallel to A bar plus B bar. So what is the meaning of parallel to A bar, B bar? That means R bar, we may take it as R bar is equal to A bar plus B bar. Now A bar, B bar is nothing but, so now this vector by its magnitude will give unit vector. Now here A bar plus B bar, that means R bar by modulus of R bar. That means R is equal to A plus B. We can take like this. So unit vector is nothing but a vector having unit magnitude, but has a direction which is along direction of the original vector. So in which direction A bar plus B bar is there, in the same direction that unit vector is also acting. Now, so this is a very important point we need to consider. So if 2 vectors are given in 3 dimensions, a vector having a magnitude as b bar. So magnitude should be b bar, but parallel to a bar. Parallel to a bar. That means, so C vector. So C vector we made it as magnitude into direction. What is magnitude? Magnitude of b bar. But what is the direction? Direction is along a bar, which means along direction of the a cap. That means here, so this magnitude, because if you are taking this is some vector, this magnitude may may give something different value in the magnitude of the C vector. But this magnitude should be equal to b, but it has direction along direction of the a bar. That is the, so this magnitude is equal to 0. So this a cap is representing direction. So the direction of the C bar is along direction of the a bar. So now we can represent C bar is equal to modulus of b bar into a cap. So like that, if two vectors are given, magnitude should be like one vector and direction is directed in another vector, means we can write the expression like this. Okay. Right, coming to scalar product or dot product. So the product of two vectors leads to a scalar quantity, then that product is called scalar product. That a bar cross a bar dot b bar is equal to modulus of a bar, modulus of b bar into cos theta. Modulus of a bar is nothing but a, modulus of b bar is nothing but b. So ab cos theta. Now, if dot product of two vectors is equal to 0, then we can say those two vectors are perpendicular to each other. Now, so sometimes they will give the question regarding this. This type of question was asked in NEET examination. Now, for example, a bar is equal to 5i cap plus 4j cap plus some x into k cap. Now, b bar is equal to 4i cap plus 3j cap plus 2k cap. Now, if these two vectors are perpendicular to each other, then what is the value of k? What is the value of k? As they are saying these two vectors are perpendicular to each other, we need to do dot product of two vectors will be equal to 0. Then we can find the value of x value. X value we can find. So like that, questions they may ask based on that point. Otherwise, two vectors directly they will give. So if they, which of the following option, those vectors are perpendicular to each other, which means we need to verify dot product of those two vectors. If for those set of vectors dot product is equal to 0, then we can say those two vectors are perpendicular to each other. Now, so a bar dot b bar is equal to ab into cos theta. Now a cos theta is called component of a bar along b bar. For means, for example, so this is b vector. Now this is a vector a bar, which is making an angle theta. Now this can be resolved into two components. Now this is a cos theta and this will be a sin theta. What is this a cos theta? A cos theta is component of vector a bar, which is along direction of the b bar. So a cos theta is component of a bar along direction of the b bar. Whereas b cos theta is, for example, if this is b and this is a, then we can take this is b cos theta. Now b cos theta is component of b bar along a bar. So this type of questions also they asked in previous AAPMT examination. You have to focus more on those. Now, so dot product of two vectors is a scalar. It will give a scalar quantity. The angle between any two vectors we can calculate by using this expression, cos it equal to a bar dot b bar by ab. Now I cap dot I cap, j cap dot j cap, k cap dot k cap is equal to 1. What is the reason? The angle between a vector with itself is 0 degree. So that means theta is equal to 0 degree. So what is I cap dot I cap is equal to modulus of I cap cos 0 degree. So magnitude of unit vector is 1. This is also 1. This is also 1. This will be equal to 1. So I cap dot I cap or j cap dot j cap or k cap dot k cap is equal to 1. Whereas I cap dot j cap, the angle between these two will be 90 degree. That means theta is equal to 90. So cos 90, 0. You can set 0. Okay. So these are the examples we'll many times we use to calculate the numericals in this. So work done is a scalar, but dot product of force and displacement. Power is a scalar, dot product of force and velocity. Magnetic flux or electric flux are scalar quantities, dot product of magnetic field and area vector, electric field or area vector. So this is about those examples are important regarding this case. So coming to vector product, A bar cross B bar is equal to AB sin theta into n cap. Here the vector product of two vectors again will give a vector quantity. That vector direction is represented by the n cap. So this n cap is a unit vector which is perpendicular to both the A bar and B bar, or which is perpendicular to the plane containing both A bar and B bar. So the n cap direction is nothing but the direction of A bar cross B bar. Now this n cap direction can be calculated by using this right hand screw rule or right hand thumb rule. So you know, clockwise direction means into the plane of the paper, anti-clockwise direction means outside the plane of the paper. That is, we can take it as right hand screw rule. Okay, right. So vector product of two vectors, again a vector quantity. So A bar cross B bar is equal to 0, which means this magnitude is 0, but we can't make direction of a vector will be equal to 0. That is the reason, even though magnitude is 0, it has some arbitrary direction. So that vector we may define as 0 vector. So 0 vector is a vector which has 0 magnitude but has an arbitrary direction. So we can't make direction as 0. That's the reason we can take 0 into n cap. So this is equal to 0 bar. Now if dot product of two vectors is equal to 0 means those two vectors are perpendicular to each other. If cross product of two vectors is equal to 0, we can say those two vectors are parallel to each other. So in the case of parallel vectors, we can compare product of component of a vector will be constant. That is, we can say with parallel to each other. So in general, while asking if which of the following set of vectors are parallel to each other, like that they will ask the question. Otherwise, one vector they will give in the question. In the option, they will give 4 vectors. So which of the following vector is parallel to this vector? Parallel to this vector. Now we need to do the cross product, and then the cross product will be equal to 0. Then we can get the value of 0. Then we can say those two vectors are parallel. So without doing cross product, by comparing these components, we can say those two vectors are parallel to each other. Otherwise, sometimes they will ask the two vectors they will give. So x into I cap plus y into, that means 5 into j cap plus 6 into k cap. This is the vector. Now this is 5 into I cap plus 4 into j cap plus 4 into k cap. Now these two vectors are parallel to each other. Then what is the value of x? So by simply doing this product of these two will be equal to constant. So from that we can directly solve this equation without doing cross product. Okay. Right. So and unit vectors. This unit vector we can find using this equation. A bar cross B bar by modulus of A bar cross B bar. So vector is divided by with the magnitudes, it will give unit vector. Now I cap cross I cap, j cap cross k cap, by using this equation, by using this one, we can calculate I into j. Okay, that means I into I, theta is equal to 0 degree. The angle between a vector with itself is 0 degree. But here sin theta, so sin 0, 0. And I into I, j into j, k into k will be gives 0. While different vectors will use this equation, I into j k, j into k I, k into I j, I into k minus j, k into j minus I, j into I minus k. Like that we can. So now other important applications of the cross product are this. L bar is equal to R bar cross B bar, V bar is equal to omega bar cross R bar, tau bar is equal to R bar cross F bar. Now here the important point is A bar cross B bar is equal to minus B bar cross A bar, which means cross product is anti-commutative, which means because of this minus there will be a change in direction of a body, direction of a resultant vector. So because of that reason we can't take A bar cross B bar is equal to minus B bar cross A bar, but here A bar dot B bar is equal to B bar dot A bar. So both will give the same result, but here direction of the vector will reverses. That is the reason L bar means R bar cross P bar, like that we have to do. If you're doing P bar cross R bar, direction of the angular momentum will be differently you will get. So because of that reason, we need to remember as R bar cross P bar, omega bar cross R bar. Here many students will get confusion. R bar cross omega bar, like that they will take. Then you will get negative sign. Negative sign means it changes its direction. After that, so change in based on the knowing of the sides of the triangle or parallelogram, we can calculate well. These are all applications of the vector product. Now we can say area of a triangle by knowing sides half into A bar cross B bar. Area of the parallelogram modulus of A bar cross B bar, direct cross product. By knowing diagonals, we can take a half D1 bar cross B bar. Now this question was asked in NEET 20 NEET examination. Previously they asked this question. That means relation with the dot product and cross product. So A bar dot B bar is equal to root 3 into A bar cross B bar. Now here with AB cos theta, this is AB sin theta. So sin by cos will give tan. Tan is equal to 1 by root 3. That means theta is equal to 30 degree. So like that we can calculate the relation between dot product and cross product related numericals they may ask in the examination. Okay. Next, addition of vectors. Based on the addition of vectors, you know, parallelogram vectors and perpendicular triangular law of vectors and all we have in this case. Now here, while discussion of the triangular law of statement, so based on the direct statement, they asked the question in the NEET 2020 examination. So what is the statement of triangular law of vectors? If two vectors are representing two sides of a triangle, so this is A, this is B. If two vectors are representing two sides of a triangle in the same order, then the resultant of these two vectors is another vector which is in opposite order. Now these two are in this order. That means if it is in this direction, this vector is in this direction, then we can say same order. But as the vector is directed like this, this is in opposite order. Now R is equal to A plus B. That means R bar is equal to A bar plus B bar. So according to statement, if two vectors are representing two sides of a triangle, the resultant of these two vectors is another side of a triangle which is in opposite order. So based on this point, what they asked in NEET 2019 examination, they given three forces. Three forces are acting on a particle in this direction. This is F1 force, and this is F2 force, and this is F3 force. Are equal forces, we can take like this. Now all the vectors are in same direction. That means net force will be equal to 0. In the same way, if it is in this direction, then resultant will be equal to 0. Net force will be equal to 0 means MA is equal to 0, A is equal to 0. That means dV by dt is equal to 0. This will give velocity is equal to constant. So on a particle, three forces are acting by following diagram. That means the vectors which are lying like this in the same order. So then what is the state of the body? So the state of the particle or state of the body is moving with uniform velocity or constant velocity. So this is the question they asked in NEET 2019 examination. So we may consider this as a direct statement of the triangular law of vectors. Okay, they should be in resultant vector should be in opposite order. So these all we know. Resultant vector a square plus b square plus 2ab and tan alpha. So here while finding tan alpha and tan beta, so the students are getting confusion at this point while application oriented types of questions if they ask it. Now here in this case, so this is according to statement of the parallelogram vector, two vectors are representing two sides of a parallelogram which are starting from the same point. That means this is four sides are there, but these two vectors are representing two sides of a parallelogram which are starting from the same point. The resultant of these two vectors is a diagonal of a parallelogram which is also starting from the same point. This is a diagonal which is also starting from the same point. This is R bar. Now what is alpha? Alpha is angle made by resultant vector with A bar. Beta is angle made by resultant vector with B bar. Now here we can take like this. This is making with this is A bar. this b cos theta is component of b along A. B sin theta component of b along the b direction. So now we can take in this manner. Now here tan alpha is equal to b sin theta by A plus b cos theta. Now tan alpha is angle made by A with the resultant vector. That means what is the vector which is not resolved? With that vector, resultant vector is making an angle alpha. In the same manner, so what is the component of vector? What is the vector which is not resolved? So with that vector, resultant vector is making an angle. That is the meaning of alpha and beta. Okay, that we have to find by seeing these 2 points. So this is alpha, this is A. The A is not resolved. So alpha is resultant vector make with A. Resultant vector make with B. Make with B. So like that we can identify the point. Okay, right. So based on this addition of vector, we have a question they asked in NEET 2013 examination. They asked the question. Now modulus of A bar plus B bar is equal to modulus of A bar minus B bar. That is AB, A square B square plus 2AB. This is minus 2AB. By adding both of them, you will get 0. So theta is equal to 90 degree. Very important application. Okay. So another this question was asked in previous AIPMT examination and also JEE mains examination. So here, so what is the point? What we have to consider here is resultant vector is perpendicular to a small vector. This is the condition. Resultant vector is perpendicular to a small vector A or B, whatever the consideration we have taken. Like that we can consider those things. Now, so here, so this is small vector, resultant vector making an angle of alpha. Now with the angle means, so tan alpha is equal to b sin theta by A plus b cos theta, which means alpha is angle made with A, which is not resolved in this place. Now what is this angle? They given as 90 degree. So tan 90 is sin 91, 1 by 0, that will be equal to infinity. Now here, so tan 90 is equal to b sin pi. So pi value they have taken as pi value. So sin pi A plus b cos pi. Now, so 1 by infinity, 1 by 0 is an infinity. Now we can take A plus b cos pi is equal to 0. Cos pi is equal to minus A by b. So by substituting this in the expression, we will get r is equal to root over b square minus a square. Now square of the magnitude of the large vector minus square of the magnitude of the small vector. So this, whatever may be the situation, we have to go for all of this. And finally we have to remember this expression, that is resultant vector will be root over b square minus a square. So from this sometimes they may ask resultant vector, sometimes they may ask any one of the vector, small vector or large vector, like this. So this is the information regarding the concept of vectors from the chapter of motion in a plane. Okay, right. So second part, that is relative velocity in 2 dimensions. Now relative velocity in 2 dimensions. So here we have 2 applications. One is boat and river, and another one is rain and umbrella, or man and rain, or man and umbrella, like that we can. So first we will discuss boat and river. Now here in this case, case 1 we can consider as boat moves along the river. That means this is, for example, this is the river. So water is flowing in this direction. This is velocity of the water, or velocity of river also we can take, velocity of water. Now the boat is moving along the direction of the river, like this. That means it is downstream or upstream. So it is moving along direction of the velocity of the water, that can be considered as a downstream. If it is moving opposite to the velocity of the flow of the river, then we can take it as upstream. Now here, so in this case, one important point, we have to apply time to go some distance. Here we can take a relative velocity concept, but here in this relative velocity concept, in different cases we have discussed already in the chapter of motion in a plane. Relative velocity in 1 dimension is there. For example, vehicle A is moving on the road with a speed of 50 km/h. Vehicle B is moving with velocity 30 km/h on the same road. Now, velocity of A with respect to B is equal to velocity of A minus velocity of B, which is 50 minus 30, that will be 20 km/h. What it means? That means vehicle A is moving 20 km/h faster than vehicle B. In the same way, velocity of B with respect to A is equal to VB minus VA, which means this is also 20 km/h, but this is minus. What it minus is representing? That means velocity of B, that means vehicle B is moving 20 km/h slower than vehicle A. That is the meaning. Like when two bodies are moving along the same direction, we need to use negative sign. But the same application we can't apply in this case because these two motions are independent motion. That means the motion of the one does not affect by the other. But here when we are talking about boat and the river, on the surface of the river or water, boat is present. That means these two are connected bodies. These two are combined bodies. Now if water is moving it fast, then this is moving with fast. When moving with this is slow. So that means velocity of this one, when you are taking, both are traveling along the same direction, we need to take a positive. Opposite direction we need to take it as negative. That is the difference between these two cases you have to identify. Okay. So because these two are independent motions, those two are dependent motions. Dependent velocity of river will affect velocity of the boat, but velocity of vehicle A will not affect velocity of the B. So but we are comparing to say how they are going like that. Okay. Now the time is equal to distance by velocity. Here we need to use relative velocity concept. So when downstream means both are along the same direction, plus sign. Upstream means minus sign. So if there is no speed of the water, means boat is moving with velocity of the water velocity, then we can take like this. These are the three cases. These are basic cases we can consider. Now, so this is a very important case. Now, so case 2, boat is moved across the river. Boat moves across the river. That means it is across the river. We may have two cases. One is boat has to travel in shortest path, and second case, in shortest time. It will take less time to reach other bank of the river, or it travels along a straight line path. For example, we will see straight line path case. For example, this is a river. Width of the river is d. Now shortest path is always a straight line path between initial and final point. Now, so boat has to go in this direction. So that means if a person is observing from ground, he feels the boat is going in this direction, then only we can say, with respect to ground only we have to say what is the direction of what is the path traveled by the body. Now to this person, the boat has to go in this direction. That means velocity of boat with respect to ground should be in this direction. Okay. But what is the aim? The aim of the boat is it has to travel in shortest path. That means it has to go in this direction. But because of that reason, if boat started its motion in this direction, then what happens? Water will throw this boat in this direction. That means it will displace from this point to this point like that. So to avoid that displacing of that boat, so boat has to aim in this direction. Then only, even though water throws in this direction, so it will opposes the flow of the water, and finally it will goes in this direction. So even though it started its motion in this direction, the person who is seeing from this, he will observe the boat is going in this direction. But actually, so the boat velocity with respect to water is in this direction. Now, so this is velocity of water. Now, so this is an angle theta. So now this angle is 90 degree. So the aim is boat has to travel in this direction, but if it is started in motion in this direction, so water will throw the boat outside. So that boat we can't go in this part directly because of the throwing of the water. So because of that reason, even though finally boat has to go in this direction, but it has to aim to move in this direction. This is called velocity of boat with respect to water. This is theta. Now, to cover in a shortest path, what is the angle made by the velocity of the boat with respect to water velocity, which means 90 plus theta. 90 plus theta. Now, so this also we can take it as velocity of water with respect to ground. With respect to ground. Now, in this case, we can apply this case. This is 90 degree. Now, Pythagorean relation. So, this square plus this square is equal to this square. Now, we can use velocity and then time distance by velocity we can apply. Okay, right. So, this is very important point. Angle made by the velocity of boat with respect to water. That means in which direction it has to aim. With respect to water means in this manner. Now, it is 90 plus theta. So now theta value we can get by from this. So sin theta is equal to opposite by hypotenuse. Cos theta is equal to side by hypotenuse. Like that we can get the value of cos theta and all. Okay, right. Next case, it has to go in the shortest time. So to cross the river in shortest time, it has to take the help of water velocity. So because of that reason, the boat is aiming in this direction, but because of throwing by the water, it will take the help of water and will reaches the other side in this manner. So this is velocity of boat with respect to ground. So this is person who is observing from outside. He feels the boat is going in this direction by taking the help of water velocity, and it will reaches the other side in a short time. Okay, right. So distance by velocity. So which distance we are taking? The distance by corresponding velocity will give time. So distance d, this is distance. Velocity is vw. If this is the distance, this is x. This is called drift of the boat. That means so aimed in this direction, but it is displaced by from this direction and reaches the point. See, this is called drift of the. So now we find for finding drift, we can take this velocity by that distance by that velocity. Or if you're taking this as s, the distance by velocity will give time, whatever may be that. Okay, so like that drift we have to consider. But in the third case, it is started its motion in this direction, but finally it reaches in this direction. Now this having two components, VBW sin theta, velocity of boat with respect to water, and velocity of water with respect to ground. Now these two are in opposite direction. So distance is nothing but net velocity into time period. Net velocity is nothing but this one minus this one, or this one minus this one. If boat is moving in this direction, this velocity is more. Because of that reason, VWG minus VBW sin theta into say. This will be drift of the. Okay, right. So that is about boat and river related. Now another point regarding relative velocity is rain and man. For example, so this is the case. This is north, east, west, south. Now the rain is falling vertically downwards. So person is at rest at this point. Then he feels the rain is falling vertically downwards. But the person is moving towards east with the velocity v suffix m. Now, when a person is moving in this direction, he feels rain is falling with some other direction, not in normal. So, because of that reason, we need to find with respect to man how the rain is falling. That we have to find. So, by knowing the relative velocity point. Now, velocity of man is v bar is equal to Vm into I cap. Whereas velocity of rain is nothing but in vector velocity of rain into it is vertically falling. That means it is along direction of the negative y-axis. That means we can take minus j cap. Now what is the relative velocity of man with respect to rain will be equal to Vm into I cap minus Vr into. So what is this Vr into minus? This is equal to relative velocity of rain, relative velocity of rain with respect to man, we have to find. This is R, relative velocity of rain. This will be minus j cap minus v into I cap. Now this we can write it as v, this is man, okay, this is vr into minus j cap plus vm into minus I cap, minus I cap. That means relative velocity of rain with respect to man is negative y-axis, negative x-axis. That means it feels, it will take, this is vm, this is vr, the resultant will be in this direction. We can take, so this is the direction of velocity of rain with respect to man, with respect to man. So here the another 2 points are there. So this is making an alpha is angle made with vertical, beta is angle made with horizontal. Now, so he feels, man feels the rain is falling along the direction of the relative velocity of rain with respect to man. Now he has to hold his umbrella in the direction of the relative velocity. That means he feel rain is falling in this direction. That means if this is alpha, now we can take this as alpha, or this is beta, alternating angle. That means alpha is the angle with vertical, man has to hold his umbrella. Beta is angle made by the umbrella with the horizontal, Now we can take alpha is equal to, now we can use the expression for with what angle person has to hold his umbrella to protect from the rain. Now, so tan alpha is equal, opposite, this will be Vm by Vr. What is alpha? Angle made with the vertical. What is beta? Beta is, what is beta? Opposite, this one, this is Vr by Vm. So this is, beta is angle made with horizontal. So like that. So either we need to find angle made with vertical or angle made with horizontal. We have to calculate in which direction man has to hold his umbrella to protect from the rain. Right. That is about relative velocity in 2 dimensions. Right. Coming to projectile motion. So third part of the chapter, projectile motion. So here we need to go with the oblique projection. Now here, when initially project with velocity, this will be u cos theta and this is u sin theta. U cos theta is a horizontal component of velocity, u sin theta is vertical component of velocity. Now, so during the entire projectile motion, u sin theta, or we can take a horizontal component, u cos theta will be remains the same, so far throughout the projectile motion. So whatever may be the points we have taken, so throughout this projectile motion, at that point its horizontal component of velocity will be remains the same. So in NTA papers they asked many times the question regarding this. For example, so here we have taken at so theta is equal to 60 degree, the body is projected. Now after some time t, which is making an angle 45 degree with the horizontal. Now here this is initial velocity 60 degrees making, that means this will be u cos 60 degree. Now at any point the velocity which is making with the horizontal is 45 degree. Then what is this velocity? Now horizontal component of this velocity is nothing but v cos 45 degree. Now this is horizontal component of velocity at this point. So this is horizontal component at this point after some time t. But horizontal component of velocity will be remains the same, which means u cos 60 degree is equal to v cos 45 degree. Cos 60 1 by 2, initial velocity they will give, cos 45 1 by root 2, then we can find the value of velocity. So this type of question is very important question. So 4-5 times they asked the question in NTA papers, in national test of the what they given papers. 4-5 times they asked the question related to that horizontal component of the velocity. So final point is the component of horizontal component of velocity will be remains the same. So throughout the projectile motion, that is the point we have to consider. And another point, so while going upwards, vertical component of velocity will becomes decreasing, and at highest point it has only horizontal component, that is u cos theta. Vertical component u sin theta will become 0 at highest point. So in general, in the case of vertically projected body, at highest point final velocity will be equal to 0. Initial velocity is not equal to 0, we need to project with maximum velocity. At highest point velocity is equal to 0, then kinetic energy will be equal to 0 at highest point of a vertically projected body. But in the case of oblique projection, so even though vertical component of velocity is only 0, but it has horizontal component of velocity. So because of that reason, at highest point at maximum height, kinetic energy is equal to half m u square cos square theta. Square cos square. So it has kinetic energy because of this horizontal component of the velocity. That is one important point. So they asked in NTA papers. And another point is, so during the projectile motion, so projectile motion is the combination of two motions. One is horizontal motion with the constant velocity. That means during horizontal motion, horizontal acceleration will be equal to 0. Vertical velocity initial, for vertical motion, initial velocity is equal to 0, but it is moving with an acceleration, it is under acceleration, which is equal to acceleration due to gravity. So now we can say projectile motion is nothing but combination of two motions. One is horizontal motion with constant velocity, that means horizontal acceleration is equal to 0, whereas for vertical motion, initial velocity is equal to 0, which is under constant acceleration, which is equal to acceleration due to gravity. These are the 2 points we have to consider. So now at this point, acceleration, horizontal component of acceleration will be remains 0. Now acceleration is acting downwards. Now what is the angle between these two vectors? That means at highest point, what is the angle between velocity vector and acceleration vector is 90 degree. This question was asked in previous examination. Okay, that is at the highest point. At highest point, so what is the direction of the velocity with the horizontal is 0 degree, because at highest point velocity is looking like this. This is horizontal, angle is 0 degree. With the acceleration, angle is 90 degree. Okay. Now this components and all and after that we will get trajectory of an equation, that is y is equal to tan theta into x minus g by 2u square cos square theta into x square. That will be taken as ax minus bx square. Now they will give in the form of an equation by using some 3x minus 8x square. Then what is the value of initial velocity by giving angle and all. Now in the place of 8, what is there? So g by 2u square cos square theta. Now so e value we have to calculate, theta value they will give, then we can calculate the value of u square. Like that, by comparing with the trajectory of an equation, we can calculate different model of numerical. So path of the projectile is parabola, that is called trajectory. The path followed with the projectile is called parabola. Now here, and another case is when you are taking projectile motion, this is called point of projection, and this is point of maximum height, and this is point of reaching the ground. The change in momentum between point of projection and highest point is mu sin theta. Point of projection and point of reaching the ground is 2mu sin theta. So there is a derivation for this. So here we no need to that derivation, we need to remember as the change in momentum between the point of projection and highest point is mu sin theta. Point of projection and point of reaching the ground is 2mu sin theta. So these are all time of ascent, time of descent, time of flight, maximum height, range, and at angle of 45 degree. This is very important case we need to consider. So at an angle of 45 degree, so maximum range, maximum height and maximum range, we can take it as R max is equal to 2 into H maximum. So this is the relation between R maximum and H maximum. So R will become a maximum at an angle of 45 degree. H will become a maximum at an angle of theta is equal to 90 degree. But here this is the relation between R and H when theta is equal to 45 degree. So this is the relation between this. So what is this relation? This is the relation between maximum range and maximum height. So this is the relation between height and range. Height and range. But an angle of theta is equal to 45 degree. 45 degree. That is the difference we have to take. So complementary angles we need to take. So sum of those two angles will be equal to 90 degree. Those two are called complementary angles. When the projectile is projected at complementary angles, they will cover the same horizontal range. Range will be same for both of the angles. Now, in terms of H1 and H2, we can write these expressions here. So based on this, for mathematical simplification, we will use expressions like this. Now range is very important. Range is equal to A by B. So for example, 2x minus 3x square, like that given means R is equal to 2 by 3. H is equal to A square by 4B. So these are the expressions used for simplification of the numericals. We have to recall those expressions. Okay, right. So now when displacement, horizontal velocity, we can take x is equal to 80. Vertical will be 1. Now because according to equation of motion, we can take displacement s is equal to ut plus half at square. Horizontal distance is represented by x. X is equal to ux into t plus half ax into t square. So for a horizontal motion, acceleration is equal to 0. Then we can take x is equal to u into t, or we can take horizontal component means we can take it as u cos theta into t. Right, like that. U cos theta into t. While finding vertical velocity, sy, or we can take it as y simply. Y is equal to, so uy into t plus half into ay into t square. What is uy? Uy is nothing but u sin theta into t plus what is ay is nothing but gt square. So like that horizontal and vertical component of the displacement we can calculate. So if they are looking like this, if you are looking like this, in a short manner we can calculate maximum height and range by using these expressions in this manner. And also this is another important expression. If initial velocity is in 3 dimensions, then we can use a range, time period, range, and all these things we can calculate by using these relations. That is about oblique projection. Okay, next, coming to horizontal projectile, horizontal projection. So this is also horizontal velocity will be remains constant. Horizontal acceleration will be equal to 0. Vertical acceleration will be equal to acceleration due to gravity. So from this, ax is equal to 0 u, x is equal to ut. From that we can write trajectory of a projectile is a parabola, which is following this equation. Okay, right, time of ascent, time of descent, and range expressions and all, regarding this. Now, if a ball is projected from one tower of height h1 to another tower of height h2, now this is the difference in height, then time we can calculate by using this expression. And this is very important case we may consider. So these are the steps we can take, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Each step of height h and breadth is b. Now a particle is projected in this direction. Now it is reaching some nth step. Now, so what is this? This is called the maximum range of a projectile. So this is called height from which it is projected, or maximum height. Maximum height. Now this is called horizontal distance, and this is called vertical distance. Vertical distance. Now how we will get this r? So by adding this one b, this is b, this is b. Like that there are n number of steps. That means n into b is equal to horizontal distance. Now n into h will becomes vertical distance. Vertical distance. So based on that point we can go with this. H is height of the each step, b is width of the each step. So now horizontal distance x is equal to ut. That means x is equal to n into b. N into b. N into h is equal to half gt square. Now by simplifying you will get number of steps by using this equation. Okay, so this when two projectiles are projecting with velocity u1 and velocity u2 in different directions from the same tower. Now at what distance, after what time, the distance between them will be x and time. These are standard equations. We have to remember this as a formula. So there is a much derivation is there for that. So we can't go that much of derivation guys this time. Then we can go with those formulas. We practice the formula and practice the numericals based on that formula. Okay, right. So another important area from this chapter is circular motion. So here in the case of circular motion, we have horizontal circular. We have two types of motions: uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion. So in the case of circular motion, we need to take an angle is the basic one. That is called angle is also we can term as angular displacement. Angular displacement. So the angular displacement, as we in mathematics as we studied earlier, angle is nothing but arc by radius. Arc by radius. So from that we can define angular displacement theta is equal to arc by radius. SI unit for angular displacement is radian. Okay, right. So if this is one of the important question they will ask in the chapter of motion in a straight line also regarding distance and displacement. Okay. Now if one body completes its rotational motion, which means at an angle of it covers an angle of 2 pi radian. This is angular displacement. Angular displacement. If covers n number of, so every one complete revolution it covers an angular displacement of 2 pi radians. If it covers n number of revolutions, which means n into 2 pi. This is angular displacement basic relation in terms of number of turns. Now, so angular displacement by time taken is nothing but angular velocity. The unit is radian per second. So this is also we can take it as 2 pi nu. This is called angular frequency. This 2 pi by t omega we can write as 2 pi by t. If n number of rotations are there, means we can write omega is equal to 2 pi n by t. Now here is a very important case regarding angular velocity of the minute hand, hour hand and the second hand of a clock. Now for example we have taken second hand of a clock. Now this is 12 and clock. Now if second hand of a clock is reached from 12 to 12, which means it covers an angle of 2 pi radian. So to cover this 2 pi radian, how much time it taken? So time is nothing but from second hand covered from 12 to 12 means this will be equal to 1 minute. That is equal to 60 seconds. Now here, so omega is equal to 2 pi by t. So 2 pi by 60 seconds. That means pi by 30 radian per second. That is the angular velocity of second hand of a clock. In the same way, minute hand. So 12 to 12, 1 minute hand. Displacement, angular displacement will be remains the same, which is equal to 2 pi radian. But for minute hand, it covers 1 hour. 1 hour means 60 into 60, 60 minutes into 60 seconds. That will be pi by 1800. Hour clock means 12 to 12. Same angular displacement will cover, but will take 12 hours. So by 12 by 2 pi by 12 into 60 into 60, this is radian. So this hour hand of a clock angular velocity was asked in previous AAPMT examination. And then angular acceleration. Angular acceleration is nothing but angular velocity by time taken. As usual in the case of speed, velocity, displacement, velocity, acceleration. Here also angular displacement, angular velocity, angular acceleration. So now we can write 360 degree. We can write it as 2 pi radian per second. 1 revolutions per second means 2 pi radian per second. This is useful while conversion of the distance and displacement in the angular position and calculating numerical. So 1 revolution means 2 pi radian angular displacement cover. 1 RPM means 2 pi radian by 60 second. That means radian per second. 1 RPM is equal to 2 pi by 60 radian per second. So this is these are the relations between lane velocity and angular velocity. This is V bar is equal to omega bar cross R bar. A bar is equal to alpha bar cross R bar. So this is linear velocity, angular velocity, linear acceleration, angular acceleration. Now we can't reverse these values because cross product is anti-commutative. Now So based on these basic things, we are going to discuss what is uniform circular motion and another is what is non-uniform circular motion. So now in the case of uniform circular motion, now this is a motion of a particle. Uniform circular motion in the sense the speed of the particle remains the same, which means the magnitude of the speed will be remains the same. But even though its magnitude of the speed is the same, it has to, if its speed is only same, that it has to go in this direction. But the particle is returned or turning this direction, which means it is changing its direction. So this changing direction because of something is there, that is called centripetal acceleration or centripetal force. For example, when a string is taken to a string, a stone is connected. Now it is moving in a circular motion which is under centripetal force. So now here, what is the tension in the string is there? The tension in the string is providing the necessary centripetal force to revolve this stone in a circular path. Okay, right. So now at every point, what happening? It is changing its direction. So this direction change because of this one. So this centripetal force is provided by the either tensional force, either gravitational force, electrostatic force, or frictional force, whatever may be. But if a body is moving in a circular motion, means which is under a centripetal force, the centripetal force having different form. So here, now in this case, speed remains constant. So now, so for getting acceleration of a body, velocity should be changes. This velocity changes will occur in two cases. That means two possibilities are there to change in velocity. One is there is a change in magnitude of a speed in a particular time, or the change in direction of a moving body, or both. In all the three cases, there will be change in velocity, there will be bodies getting acceleration. That means here, uniform circular motion, that means the velocity of a body or the speed of a body will remains constant. So even though the magnitude is constant, but there is a continuously change in direction. There is nothing but body is getting acceleration. So this is under acceleration. That acceleration is called centripetal acceleration or center seeking acceleration. So that is the reason for uniform circular motion is also called an accelerated motion. So now for uniform circular motion, what happens? Acceleration, centripetal acceleration is not equal to 0, but whereas tangential acceleration is equal to 0. So in the tangential direction, there is no change in velocity. But centripetal acceleration, so toward the center, there is a change in acceleration. There is a change in velocity because of direction. So centripetal acceleration is not equal to 0. Tangential acceleration is equal to 0 for uniform circular motion. This condition, so directly they will ask in the examinations. Okay, right. Centripetal acceleration is equal to v square by r. These things are, now this velocity vector, this is a radius vector. We can take this as radius vector. It is inward or outward, whatever it is. Now, what is the angle between these two vectors is 90 degrees. So r bar dot v bar will be equal to 0, and v bar dot ac bar is also equal to 0, because centripetal acceleration is always an acceleration which is acting toward the center of the circle. So both are 90 degrees. We can take both are perpendicular to each other. But whereas in the case of non-uniform circular motion, so both will be acting. That means so this velocity also changes, direction also changes because of the reason. So both are not equal to 0. So there is a centripetal acceleration as well as tangential acceleration. Now the angle between these two are 90 degrees. So centripetal acceleration is acting toward the center, tangential acceleration is acting along the tangent. So the 90 degree will be acting. So that means root over a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta 90, cos 90 0. So that we read net acceleration is equal to root over ac square plus at square. Now centripetal acceleration we can represent v square by r. We can correct it by using this. So this direct formula based question they asked in the previous NEET examination. Okay, right. So some important points regarding uniform circular motion. Magnitude of velocity does not changes. Direction of velocity changes. Angular velocity remains constant. So change in acceleration, that means centripetal acceleration, this is also we call it as radial acceleration. Radial, so because acting along the radius, so it changes only in direction. So linear momentum changes because velocity changes means linear momentum is also changes, but angular momentum with respect to center does not changes. This point was asked in NTA papers. Okay. So this is about the chapter of motion in a plane in a one shot. To complete the entire chapter in the form of quick revision. Okay, thank you.